What's up? Um, it's been a minute compared to the other uploads, right? Um, yeah, turns out work definitely does slow you down. It's it's crazy, huh? Like, who'd have thought that when you work full 9-hour shifts 5 days a week that your creative production slows down a bit. So I think I'm gonna like gun for like two a week, but I might even slow down to once a week. But I definitely don't want to like pause production altogether because I definitely have in the past, like, just, I mean, you can look at my channel. Like, I've taken like year-long breaks. But I also haven't like necessarily taken this channel seriously as far as like a um creative platform for myself. Uh, not not that seriously. I should say. I feel like Oral Seeds Sploosh was an sort of an attempt to create something. It's just when you like have to like schedule like two other people to be there for every episode. It um it creates it's just harder to manage, and like I don't really like pulling teeth for that sort of thing. And um not that I think that my co-hosts would like disagree or like not be do more. I don't think they were like as enthusiastic about it. It was sort of my project and I had them come on to like um be there because I appreciate them as like people, and their minds and creativity and input. And I mean, I still talk to them um, fairly frequently. Um, but I think the real failure, and sorry if you're like here for the oral seeds sploosh, but I think what like really put the nail in the coffin was just that like was kind of organizing it completely, um, and also having to like yeah sort of run something where I couldn't just like go like something like this where um, if I need to make a video, let's say, I can hop on Audacity and use some footage and go. Um, and that's what I'm doing. I'm earnestly on lunch right now on my break because when you work 9 hours you get an hour break, and I live close enough where like the commute is so minimal that I can do shit like this during during my work breaks. But yeah, work's also been good so far as like it's work. It's relatively it's yeah, relatively work. I have no complaints. Just been doing a lot of like training, corporate stuff, because yeah, when you work for a corpo, I don't need to tell you this. You just a lot of hours doing like the computer courses, and then you really just learn everything on the floor. But they have to like make sure they have all those things done for like mandatory training purposes. um but yeah, I had some notes too, for this episode. Um. Oh, blah 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 blah. Oh, yeah. It was more like comments on like my past videos because I felt like they were very rambly and I needed to get to the point quicker. Um, but it's funny because I wrote that down and I started listening to some stuff by creators in a sort of similar format, and I noticed the same thing in them and me, and it's probably just like an autistic thing, honestly, or maybe not. We don't need to label everything as like autistic, not autistic, whatever that is. But I mean, some of these people do have autism, and so do I. So I make that analysis. But I've just noticed that like I was listening to a podcast with the creator who does scripted content, and they weren't doing scripted content in that podcast, and I noticed the same sort of like rambly and filler words. So it made me feel a little bit more comfortable in the way that I present, but it was also I still want to make improvements, if that makes sense. Um, um, I also I wrote down I was like talking about like you never know how many people are gonna see it, but it's also important to know who's gonna see it because maybe someone with significance sees it, um, and whatever that means, whether that be interpersonal, like, or someone who's interested in like I don't know, creative collaboration. Um, and those were the notes. I didn't really like have much time to do a ton of note taking. Just because again I've been working, and it the culture shock between my previous job, which was 12-hour shifts, 3 days a week. Then I wasn't working for uh about a month and a half, I'd say, give or take. And then like being put back into an environment where I'm working like 9-hour shifts, 5 days a week, full time. It's a bit of a like, okay, I need to like readjust because I've worked full time before, similar hours, and yeah, it's just a readjustment period. That's all. But I think I am going to probably switch over to like a process where I'm like uploading twice a week, uh, once or twice a week, maybe 3 times if I'm feeling cheeky, if I'm feeling a little uh maybe if I'm feeling a little manic, a bit like I gotta make stuff, you know. Um, but yeah, I'm also thinking that like maybe something else, maybe something that like takes a little less time to make. And I mean this takes time to make, but it also is very like labor lax, if that makes sense. Like this, like the pieces take about, like I said, like 2 to 3 hours, give or take. Um, but then after that is very like do the voiceover, um, process the video, upload the video. It's not a lot of work. It does take some time, I mean, it's not like it doesn't take a crazy amount of time. Like, I know, like, it's not like, well, you can basically understand how much time it takes by watching the video. It's not, it, you can do the mental math, essentially, is what I'm saying. Um, but, maybe something even a little like, I don't know, something. Maybe if it comes to mind, I'll do something a little different. If like as like a little extra bit, you know what I mean? Um, and like, yeah, something like that. Um, and I have like bigger projects in mind. The problem with bigger projects for me is that I often find the starting of it, but I tend to, and this is like on me. This is like a critique of myself, that I have a very difficult time completing long-term projects where that like, conceptually it takes me more than like a day or two to make. It's something that I often just drop. Um, and so would I like to make long, like more of like a fully put together thing? Yes. Do I expect that out of myself? Not really. And maybe that's the first downfall, right? Is that I don't expect myself to do something, and I need to have that expectation put upon myself. But just historically, I know that I shouldn't. I I just reasonably can't expect that to be in fruition as like a sort of guarantee. It's not something I could guarantee. Is what I'm getting at. Even though I would like, I think it would be fairly fairly nice, like as a sort of evolution to um, how I think about making art and how I create art. That I like can spend time on something and create like something better. But yeah, at the moment, I just don't think I'm at the space where I really um, am capable of that. I think like at at most of the time, like all of the art that I have complete is it gets done within a single day, maybe 2 day period. Um, I have like stuff in the works, but most of that stuff in the works are like projects that I've put off for months or years. So, I get this like creative burst and I make something. I start making something. And if I don't complete it within that like area of creative bursting, blur, um it's very hard for me to have the um desire or inspiration or gumption to want to keep keep going on it. I'm like, I am okay with this where it's at. Um and I feel like it's kind of stifled me in my creative process as far as like being able to make something of like such a like a really good quality product, and I don't think that the things that I make are bad quality. I just think that I have the potential, if I organize my time properly, to make things that are of like a very high quality, where I feel like the things I make now are sort of sacrificed by the amount of time that I spend on them. And it could just be that like my creative process, that's how it works. And if I mess with that, I could be making worse, something overthought, or something completely different in a way that doesn't really accommodate to the sort of creative vision that I have, uh, which is probably the least important thought. But yeah, dang, I was like really on a roll there. I was spewing words like spew, 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 like a laser gun, in a laser fight. uh, um, yeah, but yeah, no, been thinking like I've been sort of like in this position where like I may or may not speak to this old friend, and it's very weird because it's like obviously as we get older we like lose contact with people, and that's natural, and like you know you sort of like have these memories of these people, and they're like these like time images. They're time capsules is the word that I'm looking for, of these people. And I don't know, it feels like, is that not like good enough sort of thing to like have, like, no, and I say this like more as like a reflection of relationships in general, and not this person that like I may or may not actually speak with, because I'd love to you know talk to them, sort of reminisce, but also like learn where they're at, because I genuinely don't know. I'm curious. I wanna like see how they're doing. But also like there is like sort of an uh, I guess ego thing. It where it's just like I want to reminisce about the good times that I had with this person. But the reason why it's like still sort of up in the air is because like I kind of contact this person every so often, um, and it just usually ends in some sort of ghosting, or on like received messages, and it's like, well, do you want to or do you not? Because you're like really giving off that you have no interest, but then you're like, when you do get back in contact, you're always like, yeah, yeah, of course, let's talk, I'd love it. But then like, and maybe I'm not being charitable, like, um there could be something like mental health wise that like is keeping them from like really like expressing, you know like properly, or like managing their time well, or whatever like mental um, uh, issues might be happening. Like, mm, you know, we're not always there 100% as people, but at the same time, like, you know, if you want to do it, let's talk, let's chat, let's I like I'm not like living in the same city anymore, and like we have to communicate online if we're gonna communicate. Um, so yeah. Anyway, that's just that's just gargling of the voice. But yeah, again, apologies, but I kind of foreshadowed this situation happening. So less uploads, but we're still trucking away. Anyway, bye bye.